Welcome back. Top Democrats reportedly prepping in quiet to replace President Biden as the 2024 Democrat presidential nominee. Outnumbered co-host Kayleigh McEnany joins us now. Kayleigh, always great to see you. Even if they do replace Sleepy Joe, would anything really change? Wouldn't it just be some of the same politics, maybe even possibly more extreme?
Yes, but perhaps more electable. I mean, they have a historically unpopular president, a historically unpopular vice president. So I think it is the pipe dream of many on the left to move them away and put in someone like Gavin Newsom, who could introduce himself to the American public and be much more popular. I mean, Biden's fundraising numbers aren't anything to write home about. They're good, but 70 million with the DNC compared to Trump at the time, more than 100 million with the RNC. So
they don't want RFK Jr.
No.
Okay, so but it does seem like he might have a little bit of a plan to buy some votes here. I'm talking about the student debt thing today, trying to work around the Supreme Court and announcing $39 billion in student debt relief for more than 800,000 borrowers. So the Supreme Court says, no, you can't do that. And Biden says, oh, but guess what? We just discovered some new rule that we need to fix. And boom, $40 billion out the door to about 1 million people. That sounds like a good thing to do if you're trying to buy votes for an election.
100%, especially with the headline this morning from Politico, young voters are getting less likely to identify as Democrats. It spells trouble for Biden. And they say compared to 2019, young people more progressive than ever, but not calling themselves Democrat. There has been huge turnout with Gen Z, with young voters 18 to 29. He needs that. These voters can't stay home. I'm not under no illusion they're going to go vote Republican. I wish they would. But if they stay home, it spells trouble. So this is his ploy to get them.
I want to talk about also staying home, some of maybe the big donors as we switch to looking at the RNC. We know on this program, Ken Griffin, because he's a huge hedge fund manager over at Citadel, I think famous really for leaving Chicago, going to Florida, talking not really about cost of living, but because of crime and some of the crime policies. One of the famous quotes from him, I remember he was on stage speaking at an event and he said, I don't have to speak for Ron DeSantis because the Florida's growth story speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Are there, though, concerns with maybe Ron DeSantis, it's a crowded field, that some of those big donors start to back off if you're a trailing or a distant 2 or 3 and just start to look at who is number one?
Absolutely. I mean, Tim Scott is becoming a juggernaut of a campaign. There was some reporting that big donors are looking at DeSantis, but also now looking at Tim Scott. And then you've got the behemoth in the room, who's Trump, who is 30 points ahead of everyone. But if I'm Ron DeSantis and I'm sitting here, I think to myself, how do I get movement in the polls? Because you're getting no movement in the polls whatsoever. There was some reporting that perhaps he would look at doing more hostile interviews, which might be a smart thing to do, going into some of these like lefty hubs like CNN, doing town halls, because the only chance of movement you have right now is the debate. And who knows if President Trump
Do we know the why behind the lack of movement? On this program, we always talk about how it's a pocketbook issue. It's real wages are down. Inflation is the story. That narrative, at least on our program, when we talk about business, seems to resonate when we talk about the Florida story and the Florida success of the economy. Why hasn't there been more movement?
Well, where Trump has had great success is he's able to say, been there, done that, can do it again. I oversaw the hottest economy in modern history, you could argue. So that's the case he's making, and it's working, and we'll see.
I've also said, just watching DeSantis on the stage making his points are all relevant, and they're all great points. He lacks something in personality, in charisma, in communicating it to people. It feels just very dry. It feels very bland. Your former boss just has a way of getting his point across that's much, to me, more, it's more bold, brash. Maybe that's what some people criticize him for, but a lot of people like it.
He has a way of making people laugh. I think of some of these stops, these retail politics stops. He stopped at a Dairy Queen recently, and he said something like, what the H is a blizzard. And it just made everyone laugh in my household when I played the moment. And at the end of the day, these policies matter. Yes, you have to have someone with good policies, but people say, who do I want to sit down and have a beer with? And that likability test, it's not to be underestimated in the political process. And
it reminds me a lot of Mitt Romney. He wasn't somebody that anyone wanted to sit down and have
John
a beer
Kerry.
with, even though he checked all the boxes in many ways.
Or John Kerry or Al Gore, and they all ended up losing their elections.
I know what a blizzard is, and I love blizzards.
You're just the hungry person.
I am
really all
today.
the time.
Casey DeSantis is a factor, though. We've talked about
phenomenal.
her in this program. She has a lot of what it seems like the governor maybe lacks at time. Could she be an X factor later in the campaign here that maybe makes a difference.
No doubt. And I've seen, Governor DeSantis in one stop, like pouring a beer for people and being really likable. But how does your campaign bring that side out more and get it in front of a national audience? Casey DeSantis, absolutely phenomenal woman, mother, first lady of my home state, Florida, beat breast cancer. I mean, a phenomenal person. She's an asset, no doubt.
I think they're attacking her because they're scared of her.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Calling her racial slurs, a Karen. I mean, that's what they're doing. That's all they've got.
Kayleigh, so fun to have you. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us. So appreciate it.
Thanks.
Enjoy your weekend as well.